Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, aka GCurse here. Welcome to another GCurse Reacts. It is currently 3:59 p.m. on the 11th of November 2024. It's 11/11/2024. I was hoping to say 2011, but we're already way past that. We're already past that. But anyway, time for another one of these videos. Today I will be doing a reaction to our boy Asmongold and a video that he recently did. The reason I want to do a reaction to that specific video is because I watched like just the first couple minutes of it, and when I learned it was about the education field, that got my attention because your boy Jeff, I work in the education field. So I figured, I'd like to hear what the president-elect has to say, so let's get to that right about now. Okay, so let's get going with this.
There are 10 key ideas that will power our movement for great schools. First, we will respect the right of parents to control the education of their children.
Okay, the one issue I have with that, I don't mind parents giving their opinions when it comes to their children's education. They should have that right. But what's there to say that the parent could be possibly have some severe religious beliefs, and they literally try to force what they want taught to everybody? I'm okay with having a voice and, having an opinion, but I think it crosses a line when we go from teaching neutral based stuff where it's not, incredibly liberal or incredibly conservative. It's literally just teaching the facts. I think we have a problem with that when we go from teaching just the facts to trying to appease one group of people. Because you try to appease one group of people, it's just going to cause a cascade failure.
Second, we will empower parents and local school boards to hire and reward great principals.
I agree with that 90%, but I don't want to see, like, for example, in a very religious community, I don't want to see parents pressure the schools into teaching the kids religion or not teaching them about evolution or certain things in science that contradict the religion.
Okay, so he basically said what I said. It's just he says a lot differently than I do, but I'm just worried that if we give the parents the ability to kind of control what the teachers teach, it'll just be the same crap again that we've had with identity politics and all that shit that they try to teach in school, which I'm just not a fan of. It should be just facts stuff, like what they used to teach, in the older days regarding paying the principal what they're worth. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. If anything, I think it should be that it shouldn't be just the principals that get paid better. It should be the teachers. It should be the assistants of the teachers. Even though I work with a lot of students, I basically am seen as an assistant, and that's okay with me. That's okay with me. However, I do a lot of stuff that would be considered the teacher's job also. I would honestly think that if I'm doing the stuff that a teacher would normally do, I should I'm not saying all the time, but when I'm doing stuff, that, like, say if I take a student out to a job site, I'm taking on a lot of responsibility there. I feel that if I'm doing all this extra stuff, if I'm taking on all this extra responsibility, then maybe my pay should reflect it. And it just doesn't seem to be like that. It seems like, hey, Jeff, here's a whole bunch of stuff that, is very, oh God, what's the word I'm thinking of here? It's very, they trust me a lot with this stuff that I do. My pay should reflect that. But it should go from the principals to the teachers to the assistants. If you have an actual hand in the teaching process, your pay should be greatly enhanced. It shouldn't just be the teachers that get the pay alone. Granted, they do a lot of work, but what about the assistants, the paraeducators? They like I said, on a weekly basis, I take my students out to numerous job sites. I'm taking on a lot of responsibility doing that. I feel that my pay should reflect that.
So like I'm on board with this about 90%, not 100.
And teachers, and also to fire the poor ones, the one whose performance is unsatisfactory. They will be fired.
That's good. That's absolutely good. They need to pay teachers more money though. Because like you can't fire people from these shitty fucking jobs and expect everybody else to want to take their place. They've got to give teachers more money.
On The Apprentice, you're fired. Third,
No.
Trump, I like what you're saying, but you don't need to try to make it like your TV show, dude. Just say, hey, the people that work with the students, they should get paid more. The people who are lacking, that lack the skills, should be removed. You shouldn't, dude. You're going to be president. There's no need to try to show that you were once a TV show host. It should not be like that, dude.
Way.
whose performance is unsatisfactory, they will be fired. Like on The Apprentice, you're fired.
That's his show, by the way. That was his show.
Wait, holy hell! Let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back. I just saw something. Come on. Wait, it's not going to show it. Hold on.
They will be fired. Like
That's good. That's absolutely good. They need to pay teachers more money, though. Because, like, you can't fire people from these shitty fucking jobs and expect everybody else to want to take their place. They've got to give teachers more money.
on The Apprentice, you're fired. Third,
No way.
whose performance is unsatisfactory, they will be fired. Like on The Apprentice, you're fired.
Okay, this is what I saw. Holy shit, Asmongold! How many goddamn tabs you have open? Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Holy hell, dude. 29 tabs. Hey, the guy can do what he wants, but for some reason, I have a top of the line computer, or near top of the line. I got it earlier this year, but it's a nice beast of a computer. But if I open up so many tabs, the fan, you can actually hear the fan starting to rotate and pick up speed and everything. I wonder what this guy's PC is running like with all these tabs. And they don't look like, none of them are dull, like kind of dimmed a little bit to show that they are in standby. So all of these are constantly drawing on the computer's resources. He has to have a beast of a computer if it's not giving him any problems having all these things open. But yeah, going back to what he said about pay, that kind of explains like where I work. We have, when I last looked, we had something like 20 plus open jobs. It's hard. Hold on, let me just count. Let me go back. I'm going to pause 1 second. Hold on. Okay, so let me pull up my monitor. 3, there you go. So basically what you see here, these are all the open positions for the sector of the school district that I work. I work in what's called direct services. Basically, it's paraeducators and that sort of stuff. So let's see here. How many do we have currently? That we have currently open. Hold on, let me... Can you see my mouse? Okay, good, you can see my mouse. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, hold on. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 current open positions. I can't help but wonder that basically this issue could be due to the fact that, honestly, if you haven't been there like I have as long as I have, If you haven't been there as long as I have, then when you get a job there, you'll be getting like the bottom rung pay. Whereas I just actually cracked my 5th year in September. So I'm making, I'm not going to say it's like monster money, but it's decent. It's enough for me to live off of right now. But if you were, wanting a job, why would you want a job that is paying, like bottom tier, when you could literally go to like your Jack in the Box or your McDonald's and get the same amount of money, if not more? That's one issue we had during the pandemic where I live. Taco Bell was literally offering $20+ for a simple job over there. Whereas my job, where I have a degree and everything, my job basically I was getting at that time less than, like, it was around $17. And this was right after my mom passed away. I remember going to so many school board meetings, and I was literally screaming at them, like, it's like, come on, this is not fair, like, literally, Taco Bell is offering more to people to fill burritos with, their chopped meat and everything. But somebody who has a degree, you couldn't be bothered to give them that much money. So it kind of goes like, why, we have all those openings. Why do we have that many openings? Because the pay isn't up there. I'm not saying that principals are not worthy of more pay. They should. They take on a lot of responsibility. But if you want some of these jobs that require, people to be in the trenches, basically, if you want these jobs filled, the pay needs to reflect it, And if you're getting paid whatever the bare minimum is now, nobody's going to want it. That's why we have 20+ openings right now. If you want these jobs filled, the pay has to be better. Okay, let's continue on.
That's his show, by the way. That was his show.
Third, we will ensure our classrooms are
Turn it down a little bit.
focused not on political indoctrination, but on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed.
Imagine
reading,
that.
writing, math, science, arithmetic.
I understand what you're trying to say, Don. But math isn't arithmetic just math, it's mathematics. He basically said math twice. But I understand what he's saying. I do agree with that. It should basically stick to core fundamentals. The minute we start forcing God or identity, politics, and all that stuff, the minute we start forcing that into the curriculum, it's going to cause problems, because not every parent wants their kids to learn about this stuff. It needs the curriculum needs to remain neutral, basically. Focus on stuff that we already know, that is truthful, like history, geography, language arts, math, stuff that isn't opinionated per se.
And other truly useful subjects. Fourth, we will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country like they're taught right now. Fifth, we will support...
Did you guys have to do the Pledge of Allegiance whenever you were in school? I know we did.
Now, I don't know when Asmongold was in school. When I was going to school, my school years was basically from 88 to 2000, and sadly, 2000 is when I dropped out. It was something I totally regret doing, and it took a lot of time for me to recover from dropping out of school. Dropping out of school is not the answer, and I just wish that I was stronger than I was then, But yeah, we always had to do the Pledge of Allegiance, do that every morning when I was in school. Nowadays, I think it's more optional. They will they will have it in the class, but it's more optional. I agree. It should be something mandatory.
I feel like it kind of fell off a little bit, but I remember, yeah.
bringing back prayer to our schools.
I disagree. I disagree. If you want to have prayer, that's fine. It should be, it should not be. Now, granted, I haven't heard everything Donald says here, but it should not be something that is forced. It should be something that a student can elect to do. If they want to do it, they can. If they don't want to, that's their right. But it should not be something like, okay, class, we're going to go start a prayer. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be something seen more like what, like say, like a club, like that. There would be like a club that meets up after school, or like during lunch or whatever, that can do their religious lessons, or whatever you want to call it. But it should not be something that is part of the curriculum.
Sixth, we will
Huge disagree on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think prayer and school should have anything to do with each other. I think that there should be a place for students that want to be religious to pray. I think that
Okay, see, that's what I was kind of saying with it being like a club or something.
it's totally fair. But to have it be incorporated into the actual curriculum or into the actual like function of the school, no.
achieve schools that are safe, secure, and drug-free, with immediate expulsion for any
Oh, by the way, yeah, private school, absolutely acceptable. Totally fine.
schools. Sixth, we will achieve schools that are safe, secure, and drug-free,
Oh.
with immediate expulsion for any student who harms a teacher or another student. Seventh, we
That's
I like that idea. However, what if the student has severe mental disabilities? Not all students who are violent are in what we call general education. Some of them are in a program like what I'm in. I'm in what's called extensive. Since day one, when I was first hired, I've been hit, I've been slapped, I've been punched, I've had my goatee grabbed, I've had a student try to choke me to death, I've been spit on, I've been clawed, I've been scratched. While I understand that we should punish the students who are violent, what do we do with the students who have developmental disabilities? Should we, what I personally think that would be good is, regarding general education students that are violent, fine, yeah, get them out of there. Get them out of there. If they are that violent, they do not have a place with students who are trying their hardest to learn. However, when it comes to students with disabilities that are violent, I personally think that we still have we should still work with them. But I think the pay this goes back to pay. I think the pay should really be higher, because nowhere when I was hired, I'm not sure what the wording is now, but nowhere was it in my contract when I was first hired, you're going to be working with students who want to try and hurt you. No, they really kind of played it where you're helping these students, you're helping them learn, you're helping them with the grooming. If they're physically disabled, you help them with going to the bathroom. They said nothing about being attacked. And you know why they don't tell you that you're going to be possibly attacked? I'm not sure how it is now. But the reason they don't tell you is because they need you to want the job. If they say, yeah, you're gonna be working with a student, and by the way, he is, almost 6 foot, almost 300 pounds, and he's violent as all hell, nobody's gonna want that job. Because of the fact that that people do not want to get beat up on a daily basis and earn peanuts. No, it's not something that somebody wants to do. The only, I think that when it comes to students who have disabilities that are violent, the pay needs to reflect that that these workers are putting themselves on the line for their job and everything. And right now we don't get that. We get paid, whatever your contract states. But literally you can get beat up and there'll be and it's basically like, okay, well, fill out some paperwork. Fill out some paperwork, and it's just like, and they wonder why we have 20 plus jobs. I'm not saying all those jobs are with students who have physical issues with people, but some of them probably are. And it's quite sad. I talked to my friend Aaron a long time ago when I first started my job, and I told him, dude, this student that I'm working with, he tried to choke me to death. And he goes, he said he was sorry. This job that I'm in is one of the only jobs that you can literally be attacked in, and nothing happens to the person who's doing it because they have disabilities. But they expect you to be okay getting attacked, and they don't want to pay you what you're worth. If anything, the teachers, the paras, the staff, basically, who have to interact with a student who is overly violent, they should be paid a hell of a lot more than what they are currently paid now.
Good. That's true. That's exactly what they should do. There's no reason to tolerate a violent student for any reason. And
this, the only issue I have is, like, I agree with him, but what if the student has developmental disabilities and they just don't know any better?
Being violent should have a zero tolerance policy. There's no reason why anybody should put up with that. If you're hitting people and touching people in school, like, we had a school where there were plenty of gangs there. There were, like, plenty of people that were, like, a lot of them are in jail now. And everybody got along. There's no reason that somebody has to be violent. They already do? Yeah.
We'll give.
Okay, one thing I do want to share, like, when I was nearly choked to death by a student a few years ago, there would be times I would go home after my shift was done, and all I could do is literally sit here where my computer is, and I just kind of shake. I would literally shake because you should not have to go through that. And it wasn't just like, oh, just one time. This was a daily issue we had. You get attacked, the student ends up going home because he's too violent. You go home and all you can do is just shake yourself. You shake yourself because the stress is destroying me from the inside. I go to bed, go to sleep, wake up, and I go through the same shit all over again.
All parents the right to choose another school for their children if they want. It's called school choice. 8th, we will ensure students.
Okay, I can understand that, but I think they should have the right to change schools under drastic circumstances. Let's say you have a child and your child is literally being tormented by a bully, literally to the point that your kid is being attacked on a daily basis. Yeah, you should have the right to choose a different school. But what if you have a child and he is just lazy? He or she is just lazy, that they don't want to do the work. They're content with basically going to school and sleeping, or going to school and just not doing the work. And if we give them the opportunity to switch schools, that's not going to help. The kid is lazy at this point. No, what needs to be done is that they need to clamp down and get this kid to work. Just moving into a different school is not going to do anything if the issue is not something in the way like that the kid is a danger. That's why he needs to change school, or she needs to change school. if the kid is just lazy, they are just going to be lazy at the new school.
Students have access to project-based learning experiences inside the classroom to help train them for meaningful work outside the classroom.
This is a really big component.
I'm not sure how it is now with the high schools, but when I went to high school, we actually had automotive and wood shop, and we also had a real shitty computer class. Now where I work, all we have is wood shop. We don't have auto shop anymore. I'm not sure if auto shop is still being taught at other schools, but I think that we need to give these students a program that can help them be ready after high school. Something that can teach them a trade. That can teach them a trade for once they are out of high school, and it should be taught as soon as they get into high school. Let's say the choices are wood shop, automotive, and I don't know, say construction or something. I don't know. But your child would fall into one of those three categories, and for 1 hour or 2 hours every day and through graduation, they would do these different things: the wood shop, the automotive, the construction, and it would help them get their foot in the door. I can't recall, I'm not sure if journeyman's the right word. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but once they graduated high school, they would have the knowledge to at least get them into an apprenticeship, like an apprenticeship. That's what I'm thinking of. They could get into like an apprenticeship program that could actually help them down the road. And the way I got my job was I actually went through college, and even though I'm grateful for the job I have, college is not meant for everyone. You get debt, which I have now. I'm going to be paying off this goddamn degree that I have that I can't even really take full advantage of until I'm like 70 years old, possibly. So, yeah, the students need an alternative after high school that's not college. College needs to be fucking redone, to be honest. Right now, in my opinion, it's a way to get money and not really help the student.
Self-defense? Well, yeah, of course, that's different. Like, obviously, it's different, self-defense. But it's not even a question, right? But I'm not talking about that. So meaningful is the key. Yeah, I think this is a huge W. I'm not if I had a kid, I would never send my kid to private school. Absolutely not. Because I think that being in public school is like a very important socialization tool, and it allows you to understand and deal with people that aren't like you. And I think that's like one of the most valuable, like I think I learned a lot in high school, but I didn't learn anything in the actual classroom, if that makes sense. So like I would want to prepare my kid to be able to deal with the people in his community, right? And those are going to be the people that are rich, the people that are poor, the people that are stupid, the people that are coming from every other, walk of life. So personally, I'm very much a public school enjoyer.
I understand where he's coming from. When I was one of the many reasons I should say, that I left high school, on top of just personal issues I had with one of the students. I honestly did not feel that some of the teachers I had really had their students' best interest at heart. Hopefully things have changed, but I had teachers that would literally do everything but really teach, basically, when I was in high school. This is back from 99 to 2000. I had teachers that would literally tell us what the lesson was in the book, and they would be gone for a half-plus hour, off doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do, while the students were left in the math classroom, basically there to struggle, basically. So I'm really hoping that things have changed.
I think it was a great experience for me, all my friends, and I would want to have that happen. But, of course, it's individual people's choices. I think that what he's saying about having meaningful exercises and meaningful curriculum in schools is really important. I think one of the big issues, and this especially happens in the second half of high school, is that a lot of what kids learn are things that they're never going to use. I would say about 99% of everything that you learn in Algebra 2, you will never learn beyond Algebra 2. And you'll never use beyond Algebra 2. Unless you're working in a specific field. So the problem is that, how many of you guys remember your locker combination from high school?
Nobody fucking remembers that shit.
No one, right? The reason why is because you're not readily using that information. If you teach
that, and also for me, it's been 24 plus years. Nobody's going to remember a locker combination from 24 years ago. Unless you literally have a job where you go to that locker for 24 years, yeah, you'll remember it. But I mean, if you literally spent 3 years in high school, 2 in my case, and then it's 24 years later, you're not going to remember that. Hell, I don't even remember what the goddamn locker number was.
Kids a bunch of stuff that they're not going to use regularly, they will forget the information, and it will be just as if you've never taught it to them at all. They're not going to remember any of this stuff. They're going to immediately forget it because it's not relevant to them, and they're going to forget how to do it. Yeah, use it or you lose it.
Ninth, we will strive to give all students access to internships and work experiences.
That's huge.
That's what I was kind of talking about.
Holy shit. Yeah, I know my high school is trying to do more of this too, because they had more of a focus on doing trade school type stuff. And this is it's massive. I did my locker. Yeah, sure. It's not going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. If you think that Trump is a bullshitter and he's lying and none of this stuff is happening, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to fight with you about this.
That can set them on a path to their first job.
Yeah.
They're going to be very, very successful. I want them to be more successful than Trump. Let them go out and be more successful. I will be the happiest person in the world.
Yeah.
But we want our children to have a great life and be successful. And 10th, we will ensure that all schools provide excellent.
Yeah, I think that's a huge component. Having kids be able to get jobs immediately out of school is super, super important.
Yeah, see, that's one issue I had when I was in high school. Just before I left, we had, an assembly. And they literally told us in the assembly hall, if you don't have a college degree, you're not going to get anywhere in life. They literally said that. And this is before I dropped out. I putted around for a few years, and then I thought, oh my God, they're right. You need a college education. I went 4+ years, a little over 4 years. It's 4 years and 2 months or something like that. I got a degree, and I can't even really use this degree. This degree has 2 things on it: early childhood education, where I could be a teacher, and then paraeducator, which is what I am now. The problem is that 2 things that they never told me when I was going to college. Number 1, you're not guaranteed to get a job right away. You just aren't. They don't tell you that. And number 2, the degree that I got, I tried for months to get a job. When I would have an interview, which was not that often, I was literally told, yeah, oh, Jeff, you got these awesome grades in college. We like your degree. I think you got a 3.59. It was just under a 4. I know that, But we can't hire you because you don't have job experience. No shit. I don't have job experience. I just got out of college. I just got my degree. They would literally not look at me because I had no job experience. What is the point of going? And here's the catch. The college I went to, LCC, they have you can think of it like as like a little school for preschool on the campus. I went through their program. They're the ones that trained me. They're the ones who taught me. I got my degree from this program. They would not hire me, even though they were with me right when I graduated. They would not hire me because I do not have any job experience. No shit, I don't have job I don't have job experience. That's why I went to college to get this damn degree. I honestly feel sometimes college is a scam. It is a scam. They don't tell you that you may not get a job right away. And even if you get a job interview, you may not get a job because you don't have job history, job experience. Well, of course I'm not going to have a job experience. Who the fuck is going to hire somebody off the street for a teaching job? Nobody's going to hire a Joe Schmo off the street that has no degree for a teaching job. It gets bad when you don't, you get a degree. You get a degree, you apply yourself, you get the grades, and they still will not hire you because you don't have job experience. And that really just pissed me off because I'm like, you guys taught me. I learned everything from this program. Well, yeah, but you don't have job experience.
And I think also like there's a big issue like in high school. How many of you guys were fed the mantra or like the ideology of if you don't go to college, you kind of didn't make it?
Basically, if you don't get a degree, you're going to be a failure. Schools should not tell their students that. They should not tell their students that. When I was going to Kelso High School before I dropped out, they touted college. Oh, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. College is where it's at. You want a good pay, you got to go to college. They never once mentioned a trade school at all. They never mentioned trade schools at all. College is where you got to go. You got to go to college.
Like you kind of fucked up. Me, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
And so like, is that really true? No, it's not really true. Like there's plenty of guys that didn't go to college and they own a plumbing company and they make $600,000 a year. Now, that's also a minority, but it's a minority of anybody making $600,000 a year, right? Let's be honest. And also they don't have a massive amount of student loan debt. So like, I think there's a very big issue where kids in school are taught that going to college is like the only way to be successful in a way that's respected by society. And I think that if high school,
that's one thing I agree with Asmongold. College is not the be all end all anymore. Go to a trade. I would actually encourage, if you have a student, if you have a child and he's about to graduate, encourage them to go to a trade school. Skip college. Right now, college is a scam. I have a degree that I can't even fucking really use. And I'm going to be paying off that debt until I'm 70 at least.
Whenever I was a senior and, you know, people that were great ahead of me when I was a junior and sophomore, they taught me, right? Like that's the way it works. And so anyway, all of this happened is that like by the time that was finished, a lot of my friends now, like that were in that class, they almost all got tech jobs and they have good jobs now. They have great jobs. And so like, and we got certifications and like all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it was literally asking, well, of course I had to teach people, right? I mean, that's your responsibility. And so anyway, there were some times, bro, like, oh God, this is a bit of a tangent. So one time, like about like 60% of every single computer problem happened in the special ed room. And so I spent an entire day trying to fix a PC.
Little known, I don't want to say little known fact because it's not really a fact. It's just something that happened last year. Where I work off site from the high school, but we have a program and it's through Longview School. It's complicated, but we would used to go to a classroom at the high school. They used to have a computer in there. One of the students that went to that goes to, I'm not sure if he still does or not. I don't think he does. One of the students decided that was in the special ed program or the extensive program, whatever you prefer to call it. He had a bad day and he destroyed the computer. So I can imagine what Asmongold would have had to go through trying to get this computer to work.
And I couldn't fix it. I spent the entire 2 hours of the class period trying to fix this PC. I come back the next day with 3 of the younger kids, not younger, they're a grade under me. And I'm like, yeah, guys, I don't know what it is. I walk into the room. The router was unplugged. And I was like, guys, wait out there. And I'm like, I plug it in and I see it where I'm son of a bitch. Yeah, teacher, he just called me on the phone. He said that he said y'all need to go get some keyboards. And yeah, just real quick, y'all need to get some keyboards and then come back and then it'll be good. Because I would always tell them, the thing is, I had this thing I would tell them. I said, you have to think outside the box, which means, make sure all the cables are connected. And I would tell the kids this. And then the motherfucker's unplugged. And I knew, right? Because everybody here was a young guy. So, if they saw that I didn't do that, bro, they would have, that would have been it for me. I would have been done. And they come back later, and they're 5 minutes later, they're like, yeah, he said he didn't call you. I was like, oh, it must have been somebody else. And they're like, okay. I'm like, well, what's going on? Oh, I fixed it. They're like, what'd you do? I was like, oh, I went into the BIOS and I had to re-register the command prompt system. And then I had to release and, confirm a new IP address. And then after I did that, the computer worked just like it's supposed to. They're like, wow, really? I said, yeah, it is what it is. And they're like, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go back. Let's go back to class, guys. We're done. And I felt like such a fucking retard, man. That was it. So I learned a lot in that class, right? We learned a lot. And a lot of my friends in that class, even the ones that were a grade under us, even they got jobs in tech. Even they got jobs in computer repair. And so why can't you have that for welding? Why can't you have that for carpentry? Why can't you have that for other things that aren't computers? So that's it. 2 minutes and 45 minutes? Yeah, exactly, right? Watch your stream, maybe. And you got into the mainframe. I would have called you out. Yeah, but you didn't. So they knew less than I. They didn't know shit. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of them, the grade under me, they were so dumb. They didn't know anything. I don't know how any of the computers worked the year after I left. And so, yeah, some high schools have it. Yeah, my high school now has a lot more of it, and it's a good thing. But yeah, teaching kids how to have actual and here's another component to it as well. It's a way to give kids a degree of ownership and a degree of responsibility. I think a very big problem is that kids are never given any responsibility outside of you have to turn in your homework. And so if you have a kid responsible and in charge of things that are important, even at an early age, it teaches them basically me fucking that up when I'm 17, way less damage than if I fuck it up whenever I'm 27. So that's the thing. It provides a safe space for people to fuck up in.
Jobs and career counseling so that high school and college students can get a head start on jobs and careers best suited to their God-given talents. This is how we will ensure a great education for every American child. And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them.
By the way, I don't agree with this. I don't think this is a good decision. I think you should reform the Department of Education rather than get rid of it.
I agree with this because if you basically send the responsibility of the schools back to each of the states, what's there to say that the different rules, regulations, whatever you call it, It's going to be different per state. We will not have like a uniform system, and that's going to be that could be really problematic for people who may, like, say, want to get a job, for example, or for parents who are moving across the country and they're used to the way school back in New York was, but a school in Kelso, Washington is going to be totally different, possibly, So I can understand why it's not always a good thing to send something back to the state, because it'll just create a whole bunch of different. It'll be like a row. It'll be like a map with different requirements or whatever per state. Like, that's just that's my opinion. I think it should be housed in one organization. That way it's uniform across the entire country.
Imagine, like, 10 years later, it's like the Civil War. Oh, you mean the War of Northern Aggression? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
To run the education of our children.
What?
Because they'll do a much better job of it.
You don't know.
You can't do worse.
You don't know.
We
You ain't
spend
from the
more
South.
money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation.
What a waste.
And yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst. So you can't do worse. We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up, all those buildings all over the place, and you have people that in many cases hate our children. We're going to send it all back to the
kids.
States. Thank you very much.
They hate the kids? Holy shit! How can he be okay? He's only talking policy after he's elected. Why didn't he campaign on these very specific plans? It's a joke. Who's going to tell him? Why do you think he has a campaign advertisement at the end of the video? There's a lot that you can criticize him on. Why make shit up? Yeah, why even do that?
Okay, and that was the end of the video. Basically, here, let's switch it over. Okay, so that was my reaction to, hold on, let's do this. That was my reaction to Asmongold's video about Trump's plans for the next 4 years are getting crazier. I'm not really, like I said, I don't tend to really go with one party or another. I don't like politics at all. I don't like politicians, but I can honestly say that I agree with some of the stuff that he said. Not everything, but some of the stuff that he said I can agree with. But that's just my take. I just really wanted to do this reaction because I am part of the education field. And ultimately what he does may impact me. So, yeah, I just want to give you my insights of everything. But as always, you know what to do. If you like what you watch, feel free to click that subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Peace out.